Hey guys, it's Miss Johnson, and I am here to bring you our last notes video for Unit 4. We're on Unit 4 Notes 5. This is the zero product property. So we're going to talk about how we use the zero product property today and what is the zero product property. So up at the top of your notes page, the zero product property says that if a product A times B is equal to 0, then either A must be 0 or B must be 0. So one of the factors, if not both, has to be 0. So here's where we use the zero product property. We use the zero product property to solve all of these factoring questions that we've been looking at. So if I have a factored form of something like number 1, where I have x plus 6 and x minus 4 is equal to 0, each of these factors can be set equal to 0 and solved. So I'd have x plus 6 equals 0, subtract the 6 from both sides, and I'd get x equals negative 6. I'd also have x minus 4 equals 0, and I'd add 4 to both sides, and I get x equals 4. So that's the solutions, those are the solutions to the equation that we had. So we've got a factored form, it's set equal to 0. I set each factor equal to 0 and solve them. So there's two solutions for this equation. Let's try it again in number 2. In number 2, here's a factor, they both get set equal to 0. 2x plus 8 equals 0, and 3x plus 2 equals 0. And then we solve that just like we would solve any other normal equation. Subtract the 8, I have 2x equals negative 8, and divide by 2. So I get x is equal to negative 4. Over here, subtract the 2, and I get 3x is equal to 0 minus 2, which is negative 2, and divide by 3, and I get x is equal to negative 2/3. Now you can leave that as a fraction, or you can change it to a decimal, but you might as well just leave it as a fraction and then you're done. So when I write these out, I've got two solutions here, x equals negative 4 and negative 2/3. So it's not like a point. It's not an x and a y. They're both x values. I'm just writing them with a comma as if they're two different values, because they are. They're two different solutions. So x can be either negative 4 or negative 2/3. Let's try another one. In number 3, I have 2x minus 6 and x plus 4 equals 0. So again, this is already factored for me. It's being multiplied in the middle. I don't need to worry about that. So I take each factor and set them as two separate equations. 2x minus 6 equals 0, and x plus 4 equals 0. Add the 6, 2x equals 6, and divide by 2. X equals 3. Over here, subtract the 4, and I get x is equal to 0 minus 4, which is negative 4. So I have x equals 3 and negative 4 as my two solutions to that equation. One more that's already factored. Let's look at that one. X minus 4 and x plus 2, they both get set equal to 0. So over here on the left, I'd add the 4 to both sides, and I'd get x equals 4. On the right, subtract the 2 from both sides, and I get x equals negative 2. So my two solutions are negative 2 and 4. And it doesn't typically matter what order we write them in. You'll often see that the lowest one will come first, but even over here, I didn't write the lowest one first. So as long as you list them both, make sure you're listing them both. Some people even just say it's x equals 4 or x equals negative 2 and circle that whole thing as well. I don't care how you list them, just somehow indicate to me that there's two solutions. Now, let's take a look at number 5. Number 5 is a little bit different, only because it's a trinomial that hasn't been factored yet. 1 through 4 were already factored, but in number 5, I'm not factored yet, so I have to do that first. So take the trinomial and factor it like we're used to factoring. Set up your factor x. You have 1 times negative 20, that's negative 20, and then the middle term is a 1, and your two factors that you would look for there would be 5 and negative 4. Split that middle y term, y squared plus 5y minus 4y minus 20 is all equal to 0. Notice I've kept the equals 0 on at the end. Group them. So this is all stuff that we're very familiar with. We've done lots of times. So pull out a y from the first one, y plus 5. Then pull out the negative 4 from the second one, giving me y plus 5. And then those are my two factors, y minus 4 and y plus 5. So now here's where the solving part comes into play. Set them each equal to 0 and solve. Y minus 4 equals 0. That's y equals positive 4. Y plus 5 equals 0. Subtract the 5. That's y equals negative 5. So your two solutions are negative 5 and 4. Let's do one more question like that together. In number 6, we have 6p squared plus 5p minus 6. So again, it's not factored yet, but I need to go ahead and take care of that. So I don't have a GCF to take out. I'm just going to factor it like normal. 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. And then my middle term is positive 5. So negative 36, positive 5 for a sum. That means I want 9 and negative 4. 9 times negative 4 is negative 36. 9 minus 4 is 5. So split that middle term. 6p squared plus 9p minus 4p minus 6 all equals 0. And then group them. From the first group, I can take out a 3 and a p, and that leaves me with 2p plus 3. From the second group, I can take out a negative 2, and that leaves me with positive 2p and plus 3. I want that negative to come out so that they turn into positive terms there. So I've got 3p minus 2, 2p plus 3 is 0, and now we solve. So take that, set it equal to 0, take that, set it equal to 0, oops, sorry, 2p plus 3. Over here I would add the 2, that's 3p equals 2, divide by 3, and I get p equals 2/3. Over here, subtract the 3, I get 2p equals negative 3, and divide by 2. P equals negative 3/2. And again, you can just leave them as fractions. You don't need to simplify and make decimals. And that's that. We're going to stop our video there for today. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hop back to Schoology and take your Schoology quiz. Have a great night.